Mr. C.K. is a comedian and an actor known for his roles in Blue Jasmine and the festival selection Trumbo. He also acted in the television series Louis and the web series Horace and Pete, both of which he wrote, directed, and created. His other directorial credits include the features Tomorrow Night and Pootie Tang. We're thrilled to be entrusted with the world premiere of this wonderful film, I Love You, Daddy. Please join me in welcoming to Toronto, Louis C.K.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for being here. I'm very excited to be here. We shot this movie in June, just this last June in New York City. We shot it on black and white 35mm film, and we just tossed it out to see if Toronto would take it. And I'm very grateful to Cameron Bailey and everybody for accepting the movie, because I really wanted to open the movie in Toronto, because I come here and I tour, and this is always, I'm not saying this just to make you like the movie, but I really love playing in Toronto. The audiences are bright and smart, and they're very enthusiastic, so I'm really glad that we get to open here. I want to thank people who bought Horace and Pete, if there's any of you here, Horace and Pete was self-funded, and it made enough of a profit that I could basically pay for this. This is a self-funded movie. All rights are available, by the way. It's just me and this movie. I have a bunch of the crew here and most of the cast, but I want to introduce them to you after the film, because you're the only audience that's ever going to see this film clean with no idea what it's about, or you know someone who's in it, but you'll be literally the only audience in the history of the world to see it this way. And we've been working on it to get it right just for you guys. We did the score is all original. We did it in Abbey Road Studios in London with a huge orchestra. And so this is a movie that's meant to be seen in a theater together as a community. So anyway, enjoy it. We'll see you after for the
I Love You, Daddy. Ebonee, Noel, Charlie Day, Edie, Falco, Pamela, Louis C.K. It might seem clear, but what inspired you to tell this story?
I don't know, I started, Vernon Chatman wrote it with me. He's a story by Skidmore. That's Vernon. Vernon and I were just talking about the fascination of people that there's these stories about and stuff, but people that you love in their work, people, and then it just sort of came up like, oh, what if one of them was fucking my daughter? And I was like, oh, that's an awfully good story to play with. Well, that's how it started. Everything always starts somewhere, but then it became about being a shitty dad and not knowing how to handle much, and about meeting somebody that you're enamored with and as an artist, and that they just think you're nothing. All these things sort of came together as a story.
You made this completely off the industry grid by yourself, and you can talk a little bit about that and pulling this cast together for what was essentially a movie made in secret.
Well, I just didn't tell anybody I was making it, and if you don't tell anybody, nobody cares what you're doing. They just don't care. So I paid for it myself. That was the main thing. So once you ask for money, then it gets around. But I was just making it on my own dime, and I figured, I always figured I part with the money. It's gone. So if it never comes back, it's okay with me. So, but casting it, I actually started with Charlie. Charlie was the first person that I cast. I wrote the part for Charlie. I knew that it Ralph was gonna be him, because I watched his show, Sunny, on Philadelphia. So, and we knew each other a little bit, but he's the first person. I just sent it to him over email, and he said, yeah! Sure! That's really weird! That guy's Woody Allen in the movie, right? Could be a lot of people. But anyway, so he said yes. And then, my manager, Becky, who's here. Becky's here. And by the way, you should talk to him and the other guys if you want the movie, because they're the representing it. But anyway, Becky said he suggested John Malkovich. And so I didn't know John, but I asked for his email address and his phone number, and I think they gave him my phone number. And so one day I gave up on the movie at one point, because I just thought, I can't pull this together. And I just got depressed about different things, so I decided one day I'm not making this movie. And then I get a call, and it's a message, and it's, hello, this is John Malkovich, and I'm in Paris, and I'm directing a play, and I'm like, fuck! So I called her, and I said, I wrote a movie, would you like to read it? Yes, I'd be delighted to read it. So he read it. I sent it to him, and then he just simply emailed me back and said, I'll do it, sure. I mean, that was it. So then I had to make the movie. That forced me to make the movie. Pamela's part, obviously, I had written for her. Edie, yes, Pamela Adlon. Obviously, I wrote Maggie straight into her face. And also, I had worked on Horse and Pete with Edie Falco. So of course, that part was also written for her. And Ebonee is wonderful, and Noel, who was found for me by Gail Keller, my casting director, who's here. Gail Keller. So, yes, Gail. Other than that, also Chloe, of course, because she's not here, so I just didn't think about her. But Chloe's in Ireland making a movie, and Chloe is just somebody I'd seen in some movies, and I just thought she had something new in her that hadn't been done with her before. And so, same thing, I just sent it to her, and she said yes. That's how I cast the movie.
Thank you. Sure. I want to hear from the actors before we go out to you. If you could just say a little bit about what it meant to you to make this movie, the story you were telling, and maybe what Louis told you about the movie he wanted to make. What was his direction to you? Can we pass the mic around? Start anywhere. You can start with John if you like.
Well, I got it, and I read it and thought it was very funny and quite sad, and I liked the characters, and just really wrote him and said, yeah, I'd love to do it, if it happened. And I don't know that we had a conversation about necessarily why you wanted to do it, but it's not the kind of thing I would ask.
I got my own mind. Well, Louis, you reached out to me and said, I want to put you in a movie, and I got immediately excited because you write with such emotion and pathos, and I was thinking, wow, he sees something in me. He knows I'm a very emotional man and not just a comedic buffoon. And then I read the role of the comedic buffoon, and I said, yeah, I'll do it. Would you like my microphone?
Louis told me I had to do it. I was really busy, and I wanted to meet John Malkovich and Edie Falco.
Yeah, he said, I wrote this thing and I want you to be in it, and I said, yes. But we didn't talk about what it was about or who I was, or I said, tell me what time to be there.
And Ebonee?
Well, I didn't read the script before I did this. I did a cold read audition, and I got a call like a week later that the role was mine, so I kind of knew nothing about it before I went to audition. That's
And it worked?
Yeah, it worked.
All right, we've got sometimes a lot of people here. I bet some of you have questions. So let's try to do this as fairly and quickly as we can. I'm gonna go. Pathos won't work. I'm gonna go right here first. I may come back to you. Go ahead.
Why do you like to self-fund?
Why do I like to self-fund?
Why do you like to self-fund?
Well, it's just makes everything really simple. Because when somebody else has the money, you gotta keep asking for things. For instance, the scene in the birthday party, we shot that at Cat Tavern on the Green in Central Park, which is a terribly expensive place to shoot. And I wanted this thing where you see the skyline of New York City, and the camera drops gently down into the thing, and somebody said, well, you need a movie bird, which is an enormously expensive piece of equipment. It's this huge crane that does, just to do this, it's like $50,000 just to do this. And so I was like, yes, fuck it. It's my money. It's my money. I like the simplicity of it. That's what money's for. Money's a resource. It's oxygen. It's a thing you use to make stuff. That's the way we've always looked at it. And it's okay with me if I never make any of it back. I got to watch it with you guys tonight. It was fun.
So first of all, hello, Louis C.K.
Hi.
I'd like to say that.
Sure.
Obviously, I'm such a huge fan.
You should ask the question because you're being selfish. It's too many people. Go ahead.
You're a comedian and a filmmaker. I'm wondering if the writing process is similar for both art or if it's...
Very different. He's asking for the rest of you. I'm a comedian and a filmmaker. Is the writing process the same for both? So it's very different because stand-up comedy is really just thoughts that come out of my face, and I go, oh, that's probably a bit, and I just sort of remind myself with one word to try that on stage. And then I'm on stage is where I really write the stuff. I work it out on stage and then sort of print whatever happened on the best version. So, and it's compiled over, a long time of little bits here and there over time. This is like actually sitting down and figuring the thing out. Some of it is verbal. Something that Pamela and I have started to do writing on her show that's worked for me, and I did with this, with Vernon, was to put a phone on voice memo and just talk about the idea and talk it out, and then have somebody who works for you, hopefully, my assistant Leah, who's here, Leah Cohen, who also kept me hydrated and together through the whole picture. So she transcribes those voice memos, and then you have something on paper now to start piecing into, But this one, I think I wrote it pretty quickly. It just kind of came. I kind of knew what the whole movie was right away. The end.
Is there a question in the balcony? Yes, right in the front row. Go ahead.
Louis, why did you decide to shoot it in black and white? Even though you could have shot it colorfully, it kind of does reminisce kind of the 50s and the 60s type of movies. But why did you choose, especially in 2017?
I know, right? I could have, even though I could have. I mean, it's true. I totally could have. Shot it in color. I'll tell you what, I've been shooting in digital color for a lot of years now. And the digital world is beautiful. They do wonderful things with the Red and the Epic and all these cameras that have these beautiful sensors, and people can make very nice things on their phones, all kinds of products. But what I find is that because they keep advancing, every year, last year's sensor looks a little shitty. And it's kind of hard to keep up with that. And everything kind of looks the same. Everyone's working with the same technology. But when we were shooting on film years ago, there was this thing that you used, the film was just a canvas, but the way you shot it, if you pushed the film, what stock you used, what lenses you used, what filters, was this just infinite amount of choices that can make a film look completely different. No movie you see looks like any other movie when they're really good. So I missed that about shooting on film. And so I was excited to shoot on film to begin with. And then I thought about black and white because the movie started to feel very classical to me as I wrote it. I started to see that part of Grace as a very movie star in the old sense of the word. And I started to see Maggie in these sort of like suit dresses, and also Paula dressing like My Girl Friday, movies like that from way back when. I love old movies, so then that started telling me black and white, and then I got just excited. I love black and white films, not just the old ones from the 40s and the 30s, the pre-code movies, which I think are some of the best movies, is pre-code movies before people were told that there had to be morality in films and good and bad and simple, things like that. So I thought about that, but also black and white films like Raging Bull or, Nothing But a Man, Michael Romer, you should go look it up, he's great. I could go on and on, I just really wanted to do it. And film is a different discipline because you have to wait for the camera to be loaded. It can only go for about 12 minutes at a time. You have to reload, you have to have the custody of the film is a very delicate and careful thing that you could fuck up, and you don't know what the movie's gonna look like. I didn't know this movie was gonna look like this till tonight because we just finished the digital print. It's been sitting there, the negative, and you look all the time you're making it at work print, which doesn't look very good. So all of that, it makes you respect the work, that you can't just turn the camera on and fuck around. It's very expensive and difficult. So you go, is everybody really ready? Are we in this moment? Are we doing this? And it's like, do you want to do it again? Somebody says, there's only 2 minutes left in the mag. Well, motherfucker, I don't know, that's not enough for a take. And that makes you focus more. That's part of the answer.
Right here.
Brilliantly written, beautiful in the way that it showed up. But to you, Mr. C.K, what was the one scene that you're most proud of in writing and in how it appeared on film?
That's a very nice question. Thank you. Thanks for the compliment. And he said I'm really good at writing. That's really well written. You heard him, right? You're in front. He said it's really well written.
Academy wanted to know, what, sir? Academy voters.
He wanted to know what scene I'm particularly proud of in terms of the writing and how it came out. So that's a hard. The scene between me and him in the study when I confront him is a scene I really love, but that's partly because I got to be in it. And I got to be, it's like having the coolest ticket to the show. Because the whole time I'm in the scene with him, I'm like, it's fucking Malkovich in a minute. So that's partly, it's not as much the writing. The scene with John and Chloe, their last scene together, I think is my favorite scene. Yeah. Because, so I had written a very different scene. I had written a scene that was her just saying a lot of really explicit shit. I want to fuck you. Like, it was insane. And we read it out loud the first day that we all assembled at a table read. And she read it with all the commitment and then looked up and she went, China needs to chill. That's it was so clear to everybody in the room, that scene is not a woman talking. It's a dude. This is what she would say if she wanted to fuck all me. It was so awkward. So I told Chloe, we'll revisit that. You think about it, I'll think about it, and we'll revisit it. And then I forgot about it because we're making a fucking movie every day. And then we're shooting that scene, and I wake up in the morning and there's a text from Chloe saying, I'm getting makeup now. What am I saying today? And by the way, it's the most important scene in the movie. I mean, if that's not nailed, it's all gone. So I was like, oh shit, and I ran to the set and I was sweating. And I went to the trailer, her trailer, and I had to confess to her that I didn't have anything. And I thought, well, look, let's be realistic. You're sitting on this guy, and you're not gonna be competent and just be able to say all these terrific things. You're just gonna sort of say half things and be kind of shy. So we sort of paced out. I auditioned ideas for her, and she seemed comfortable with them. She was there to sort of approve the lines, and I wrote them. And then I thought, at some point, when you get nervous, you just change the subject and talk about something else. And I said, look, bad pitch. You say, I used to play Mother May I. And then I went, oh fuck, that's actually maybe a good idea. And because then she says that she was mother and all that stuff. But anyway, I gave this to her very abruptly, and she had very little time to think about it. And then we just set up John in that crazy Moroccan bed that I now own. And we didn't know what she was going to do, really. I tried not to give her too much. I was like, this is really yours. And she just walked in and sat on him, and she made this, she really created that scene. I mean, I have to give her all the credit for how she invented what happens and what's felt there. And all of us were like, holy shit, what was happening. So, anyway, thanks for the question.
Thank you.